With the FX9, Sony have added a dual native ISO, giving you a choice between circuits tuned to ISO 800 and ISO 4000. And this gives you a lot more flexibility with your ISO settings than you may be used to if you're coming from cameras like the FS7. The FS7's base ISO was 2000, so in Cine EI mode, that's what your camera was set to. And 2000 is a bit of a halfway house ISO. Too bright for daylight filming and not quite bright enough for low light filming. So with the FX9 you can now freely choose between 800 for situations where you've got lots of light, daylight exteriors and so on, or 4000 for those times when you need that great ISO performance and the great dynamic range at the same time. I always give the example here of a firelight scene like a campfire, where you've got very bright flames and lots of information in the shadows at the same time. So you need the dynamic range benefits that come from being at that native ISO, but you need to use a high ISO because it's a dark scene. So, because of this addition of the dual native ISO, the FX9's high ISO performance was one of the very first things which we wanted to try out when we got the chance to actually use the camera for a few days to film with. We did our usual test for high ISO performance. We set up a lighting situation and then we try and keep the exposure exactly the same as we go up through the ISO range of the camera. And we do this by adjusting the shutter speed because it's the exposure setting which will affect the noise levels the least, while giving us that fine control which we need to get our exposures to match each other. And so by doing this we can look at the dark parts of the image to see what the noise levels are like in the dark shadows, or in an underexposed image, and in her face and the charts for comparing noise levels when correctly exposed. So let's just ramp up through the ISO levels and see how the image gets noisier as we go higher to higher ISOs. So let's look at the two native ISOs now side by side in a bit of a closer detail. So as you can see straight away, they're both pretty clean. The 4000 is definitely slightly noisier, but it still looks great. And if we compare it here to the 6400 with that lower base ISO, you can see the difference that having this dual native ISO really makes. Applying gain to get up to, from ISO 800 up to 6400 adds a lot of noise, as you would expect. By having this second higher base ISO to swap to, it means we can basically reset that noise at 4000, so 6400 looks significantly cleaner when using the higher ISO. And we can actually get up to 12,800 and still be slightly cleaner than 6400 was with the lower native ISO. There's definitely a reason that so many manufacturers are now implementing dual native ISOs like this, as it does make a big difference to the high ISO performance. Overall, I think the FX9 does a great job here. This dual native ISO is going to make a big difference to customers that are used to the FS7 Mark II, but it also just means it's a great camera for low light work in general. But what do you think? Let us know in the comment section down below, and if you want to buy a Sony FX9 for your own work, of course just head over to proav.co.uk with the links in the description down below. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.